Have a seat on your porcelain throne. It's time to talk some shit on the Powell movement.
Welcome to the Powell movement. I'm your host, Mike Powell, and this week I'm doing a podcast from a trade show. That's right. While there are a lot of great regional shows, thanks to Cammie Garrison and the good folks at WWSRA or whatever that acronym is, the WSM Tradeshow is the only show in snow that remotely resembles what the SIA used to be. Speaking of SIA, they used to be this big trade group that was bigger than the industry itself. But what happened to those guys? What was once the authority on the trade and business is a group that still exists on the sales and marketing dollars of the industry. I had the head guy on the show a few years back and listened to that interview. It didn't seem like the SIA knew who it was back then, and well, who knows what they do and who they are now. I'm a believer that when a respected brand or property all of a sudden starts sucking, well, things usually start at the top. Look at our country, look at the last ski brand I worked for. When you have bad leadership that doesn't know what it's doing, sure, you can bend people's minds for a little bit and make them think that you know what you're doing. But the reality is that the damage an incompetent leader can do to an entity can bring it down fast, and it takes years to recover. Look at our country, we're in the toilet, and we'll be feeling the realities of this leadership for a long time. It's like the last brand I worked for. It's taken them 3 years, and it'll probably be another 2 before they can totally turn their ship around after having bad leadership. That was a lot of talking just to say, why do people pay for the SIA these days? I bet it costs more than a year of podcast advertising, and I guarantee podcast advertising is more effective. I mean, when I talked to the SIA last, they were puffing their chests out about how they were going to guide brands on how to package their products in a green way. I thought that was really funny. It's like your job's to get me data, throw a trade show at the dates that I want the trade show, and not tell me how to sell my shit. If I listen to you, I can end up taking my brand down to where the SIA is now. And that's not relevant. The people who are relevant are the SIA's main customers, the brands and the buying groups. And to make a show that worked for them, what did the buying groups have to do? Well, they had to throw their own show, and that's what WSM is. And while I loved SIA for the parties and the marketing and the fun, what didn't get done there was business. The dates were always bad for the brands, and SIA, well, they didn't care. They did what worked for them, not their customers. And every business owner knows it's all about the customer. So the WSM show has completely taken SIA's place. The big difference is that this is a show about writing orders. It's pretty much free of media and marketers. Sure, I'm there and Free Skier is there and Phil and Trish from Ski Talk were there and there were a few others. But outside of that, it's all about selling product. And the lack of people like myself there make this show an awesome show for me. So I go into this one with the plan on talking to every booth and telling every single person about my podcast and the stickers I sell. But before I get into doing what I'm going to do at this podcast, I need to call out my incredible sponsors who make this show happen. I'm talking about Elan Skis, Outdoor Research, Insta360 Video, Best Day Brewing, and Ski Idaho. Now that I've gotten the sponsors out of the way, it's time to head to the soaking capital of the world, Salt Lake City. So I go to the trade show, I get my badge, and it's off to work. But it's always weird because I have no real work to do. My job is to meet people, talk to them about whatever we end up talking about, usually skiing, stickers, and podcasts, and then I go on to the next person or booth or whoever I feel like chatting up. And when I get in the show, I'm trying to get my bearings, and when I do, I'm at the Quigley booth, and I see Griffin Post. A lot of times, I'll start out with shooting the shit with Griffin, and I won't get a soundbite right away like I'm supposed to, and I end up freaking out later on in my trip because I don't have enough audio, and I'll have to scramble. But that's not happening this trip. I finally figured it out after 10 years. When I see someone, I should record them. But one thing I have to keep reminding myself is that while I can find whatever topic I want to talk about, I can't keep beating the dead horse and start asking every single person about the lack of snow. But you know me, I'm an idiot, so I see Griffin, a former Powell Movement guest, and I start out by asking him about snow before we get into the good stuff.
Normally, you'd be on the mountain about this time. What's going on in Jackson Hole? Has it snowed yet?
It has not snowed in Jackson, but I'm saying mid-February, early February. The Griffcast is calling for an uptick in snowfall for sure.
Okay, so we have the Kings and Queens of Corbett's, and that is tentatively scheduled. Not tentatively, there's a hard window of the 7th through the 14th. There's no snow forecasted through the 7th. So is this event going to happen?
Yeah, I think by the 13th, I predicted it happens on the 13th. I skied Corbett's the other day, and it was not good. But a lot can change, a little snow, a little wind. It can turn around pretty quick.
And it's going to be one of those years, I feel like, where it's going to be the Miracle March and everybody's going to be skiing really late. How do you feel about that?
Miracle March for sure.
Okay.
Fantastic February, is that a thing?
I don't know, but I think you just made it up. So Fantastic February. We're here at a trade show, and you used to go to trade shows all the time when you were an athlete. You still are an athlete, but you're also double dutying it. What is your role here with Kesley?
I'm the marketing director for Kesley USA, so got a few super exciting products to show at the show this year.
So with your life now, are you spending 20 to 30 hours in front of a computer during the week and then skiing on top of that?
I spend a lot of time in front of the computer. Social media might have you thinking otherwise, but it's all smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of screen time these days, but working for an Austrian company, it's nice because they're pretty much out at 9 a.m. and so I can work first thing in the morning and the evenings and still get to ski quite a bit.
And when you look at the Kesley brand, it's always been a very clean product. There hasn't been any flashy graphics. And I would think that's probably from an Austrian direction. And you probably appreciate that here in the U.S. When you give feedback and you say, I want some of these things, are you able to get it, or is it hard working with the Austrians?
Yeah, the last couple of years, I think we've really shifted to starting to make North American focused products. So we have our own iterations over here, working with the product team really closely in Austria. And it's been a pretty awesome shift and much more like symbiotic relationship.
And then on the athlete front, what trips do you have planned this year? Anything exciting?
Oh man, I've been trying to clean up this backlog of projects for the last 2 years and just got the last one out the door. So finally have this horizon line and yeah, start scheming, but can't believe it's already in the middle of January. End of January.
And we haven't talked about this, and I'm going to bring it up really quickly, but there was a project a few years ago where you found a camera somewhere and developed the film. I can't even remember all the different things that went on, but it was something that when it was happening, I was pretty intrigued and interested in it. What was that whole deal?
Yeah, so that was the last project that I've been working on finishing up. It was about finding Bradford Washburn's camera from 1937 from his Mount Lucania expedition, and we worked with a team of glaciologists, shredded a bunch of things, and ended up finding this camera that had been on the glacier for 85 years, which is, still can't believe it actually worked.
It's incredible. And then you were able to develop the film and see everything that happened?
We're gonna have to wait for the film to come out.
I can't wait to see the results of this project. I mean, it's like a living time capsule that should never have been found. But a dude like Griffin, he's one of those smart skiers. The guy with a ton of education throughout his life, a pro skier, an MBA, a marketing director. So you can imagine his projects aren't all adrenaline, even though he can and does deliver that too. Hopefully a project like this are going to catch a lot of eyeballs outside of skiing, but who knows? Skiing has traditionally done a very good job of keeping its media away from the mainstream. I leave Griffin and I turn around and I see another brand and another person that I know of, I respect the shit out of, and I can't remember meeting before, but I know we have to have met at some point. Anyways, Cassie Able grew up on Vashon Island, which is so interesting to me, because while a lot of awesome people come out of the island, there are the traditional islanders too, who are just as awesome, but maybe not with the same drive as Cassie Able. If you haven't heard of Wild Rye, her clothing brand, it's a rarity in the ski industry, a women's owned apparel brand, and what they are doing in terms of small batch product designed for women by women skiers with incredible fit, finish, and stylings. And I know I'm saying all this as a dude, but let's talk to Cassie and let her tell us all about the brand. When did you found Wild Rye?
Almost 10 years ago.
A decade ago. But what's funny is when I was working at K2 on Vashon Island, you grew up on that island.
I was a grom on the island, just digging skis out of the dumpster.
And that's funny. Did you dig a lot of stuff out of the dumpster and get a lot of cool K2 stuff back then?
I remember the inline skates particularly were very, very exciting.
I was a big fan of the inline skate division. In fact, I was a big part of the inline skate division. But with you started this clothing line. And when you went in, was there any other women-specific clothing lines doing what you're doing out there?
Not really, no. So yeah, we're really excited to be carving our own space here.
But when you do carve your own space like that, I mean, to create a product line like this, there's a lot of investment up front that has to come. Like, you have to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to create this product line just to get out there for the first time. When you do that in the beginning, how scary is it?
It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, every single dime that we made went pouring back into the brand. It was the only way we could keep it going. We were 100% bootstrapped for the first 5 years, which meant that it was just my and my business partner's dollars going into the brand. We didn't pay ourselves a dime. We both had other jobs full time, and 2020 I went full time for Wild Rye and paid myself for the first time in 2021. So 5 years into the brand.
When along that path did you kind of see the light, like, holy shit, this is going to work?
Honestly, it was probably 2.5 years in when my business partner decided to exit the business, and I was feeling this wild sense of momentum behind the brand. Like, the community was really showing up for us. There was a ton of energy on the internet and in real life, and that really gave me confidence to buy out my business partner and keep going.
And so you're in a great spot right now. The clothing looks amazing. But when you look at the market over the past couple of years, something I've noticed is there's a lot of these brands, and I don't want to shit on anybody, but brands like Dope Snow and other brands that come into the space, they don't really support the marketplace, but they take a lot of the dollars. What does that do to you and other brands out there?
I mean, we're a brand for the community. Like, we're 100% committed to this industry. And it's frustrating seeing these people that haven't suffered through the years of the ski industry and the outdoor industry that we've suffered through, and not committing to the athletes in the same way that we do, elevating the journalism in our industry. I don't know a ton about the structure of those brands, so I'm probably not well equipped to speak on it, but I am just such a fan of those brands that are fully invested in this industry.
It's cool to see a small brand grow, and with clothing, it's just so hard. I mean, to build a full product line, you have to pay for it first. And when you sell thousands of units of any given SKU, there is so much upfront cost. And that has to be scary every single season, because one bad snow year can really screw you. Next, I ran into Cam Hoffman from Pit Viper, and I love this dude. I see him every year at the Payne McShlunky, and he's always repping Pit Viper in full effect, meaning he's one of the most fun and in true McConkey fashion has one of the best fits every year. His best looks have involved a fake baby and a bottle of whiskey. And Cam always makes me look good at this event. Keaton, my kid, he's been to the Payne McShlunky twice, and he's a huge fan of Pit Viper. And when I've seen Cam in Tahoe, he's always like, "Mike, great to see you. What can I get you from Pit Viper?" Then he's like, "Is this your kid?" And Keaton's like, "Yes, I'm his kid." And he's like, "He's your dad? Come with me. Whatever you want from Pit Viper, you can have." And my kid thought I was awesome because of that, and that's a rarity. So, whatever. I love Cam, and he's my second favorite Pit Viper employee.
Pit Viper has taken the world by storm since Chuck Mumford and partner maybe 20 years ago showed up at a trade show, it seemed like, with a briefcase full of sunglasses, and he was selling them to people just out of his briefcase, and that was super cool. And those glasses, they were like safety glasses that everybody started wearing, and it became the party glass of the world. But 10 years in, I would think that sales of those glasses, they can't be as strong as they were 10 years ago. You guys have been bringing in all kinds of different shapes, and is that the deal? Is we're going to make Pit Viper for everyone?
Pit Viper is for everyone. Every day we get one step closer to global domination.
Okay, so that's kind of the deal, is like you've seen that there is a future and it's not all that one shape, and there's going to be plenty of Pit Viper shapes?
That's right. Plenty of Pit Viper shapes, something for everybody, even the normal boring looking ones.
All right, and so those Heartogram glasses that you did, I say Heartogram, I don't know why, because Bam's been in my social feed since he got sober, or he's supposedly sober, who knows, but that glass, that kind of reinvented the brand, it seemed like a second time, right?
Indeed, the admirers have been huge for us. They've been very well accepted. We're stoked on those ones.
And so what do we have to look forward to from Pit Viper? Because some of the marketing that you guys are doing is cutting edge. It's different than everybody else is doing, and it just doesn't give a fuck. I look at the Pit Viper 69 jersey right there. I see that brown eye over there. I'm just making up stuff, but not stuff that's too far-fetched. What's next?
What's next? We're going to continue evolving our goggle program, and we're never going to change. We're going to continue being ourselves from here on out.
So all these brands that kind of reel it in a little bit when they get too far out there, you're just going to keep pushing it?
That's our opportunity right there. When everybody else gets more boring, we're going to keep getting more outlandish and more irreverent and staying true to our roots.
Pit Viper is so much fun, and I was sent a care package from one of their employees who I'm going to talk to later, which had some glasses for Keaton, but they had some glasses for me, and the ones they sent me, they're like regular sunglasses, a shape I would normally buy from Pit Viper's competition, but no, these ones are Pit Vipers, and they're ones that I'll wear. The only thing missing is the Pit Viper fangs from the lenses, which I really want. So when Pit Viper places their big sticker order from me, I'm going to have them buy some UV DTF stickers. And that's not the super fun DTF that we all want to find on a Friday night. While that's fun, this UV DTF, it's like a traditional transfer sticker, but you can get as detailed as you like. So I can make those Pit Viper fangs as tiny as they want, and they won't lose clarity, and they'll be just like a transfer sticker. They're really amazing. So I'm going to make those for Pit Viper. If you want to order stickers for yourself or for your work or for anything, and it's not just stickers, I sell banners, tents, and all kinds of promotional items. Email me at mike.powell@diecutstickers.com. I don't make commission, and all I want is for you to get the best deal possible on your stickers. And my stickers are better than anything else out there, and my company is the only company to year in and year out support snow events. So make my life easy and order from me. I'll beat whatever prices you're getting. Just don't tell my boss, but I will definitely do it. Back to the trade show. The next person I chatted up was longtime friend and coworker and absolute ski legend Mike Hattrup. And I always love shooting the shit with Hattrup because he's such a great talker and he has so many stories. And I'll let you know right now, the backstory to my stupid intro question to Mike Hattrup was the day before I had seen something in my social media feed that asked this same question. And when Hat said he worked for 11, it just flowed off my tongue. It is totally stupid, doesn't make sense, but whatever. I ripped something off the internet and it ended up in this podcast. Here we go with Mike Hattrup.
Mike, you are with the 11 experience now, right?
Yes, 11.
11. So
We
you're
just
with
call it 11.
But you're with 11 now. And why isn't 11 called 1E1? Because you got 21, 31, 41. Why isn't 11 1E1?
What?
Yeah, that was my first question, all right?
Okay. Yeah, you know where 11 comes from.
Where does 11 come from?
Spinal Tap.
Okay, so we're going to turn
Ours
it
go
up
to
to
11.
11.
Yes.
So that's where 11 experience comes from.
Yeah.
And when you think about 11 experience, they are like the best trips you could possibly go on, right?
11. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a very descriptive name. On a scale of 1 to 10, these trips are they're in the coolest corners of the world, and the lodging is off the charts, but comfy. It's like your home.
So
it's
this
like
is,
you can put your feet up on the coffee table kind of place.
So I would think this is one of those things where if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it, but the people that can afford it have the best ski trips in the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they get to go ski with dudes like yourself. Like when you want to have a great ski guide and you turn it to 11, they bring Mike Hattrup out.
We have guides that are actually much better than me.
But you're a big name too.
But yeah, so I'll go ski some of the time. Yeah.
And what has been your best 11 trip?
You know what? I get asked that all the time, and it's almost impossible to say because each of our lodges are so different. I mean, it's Crested Butte's cat skiing, right? And then Canada and Revelstoke is classic Canadian heli skiing. Iceland's off the chart because it's on the edge of the Arctic Circle. You're skiing from the summit down to the ocean, sit in a hot tub in the natural hot springs at night and watch the northern lights. I mean, so that's off the hook crazy. And then France, not as exotic as that, is still one of the coolest places because we're right in this valley with 7 different resorts around us. Big resorts like Val d'Isère and Tignes and Les Arcs, and then little resorts that you've never heard of that are the size of Snowbird. And so that you can go ski groomers, short ski long lunch, or you can ski buzzer to buzzer off piste or lift assisted touring, or you can jump in a heli.
And Mike, you've had so many great jobs in the ski industry. I mean, you've worked with so many different brands and you've had so many amazing trips. But when you look at the best job you have, is that it now, is being with 11?
It's funny you say that, and because I have worked with amazing brands, but yeah, this is definitely the best job I've had.
That's a bold statement from Hat. He was a pro skier. He was the K2 Telly guy who had his own program and didn't have to go to the office much. He's been with so many incredible brands, but I guess when you do something on that 11 level, everything else isn't as awesome. Another dude who has an amazing ski life is Ted Ligety. 2 Olympic ski golds, 5 World Championship golds, 5 World Cup slalom titles, and 2 Powell Movement appearances. This dude is so much more than just an athlete. He's a marketing property. He's an engineer. He's a spokesman. He's an entrepreneur. He's a husband, a father of 3. This guy has so much going on, and he's so chill.
Ted, I think the big news around, other than your game-changing lens that you're going to talk about in a minute, I'm sure, is that you're with DPS Skis now. You've been there for about a year. How did that happen?
It was actually one of my neighbors, Chad, is the CEO, and he's like, oh, we're looking at making a more carving-oriented piste ski. And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. You guys are funny. You guys are a powder ski company. Good luck with that. But as we started talking about, like, the idea of helping them develop something here in Salt Lake. I live up in Park City, so I've always been a ski tinker. One of the things I really missed from racing was not really being heavily involved in the R&D side of things on skis anymore. I was doing that all the time when I was racing before, and so nowadays the idea that I can go with the team at DPS, whiteboard an idea on a Monday and skied on a Wednesday, and super tight cycle, and they're doing amazing things. It's a super fun project. It's like the dream job for a ski nerd like myself.
And being a ski nerd like yourself, you know everything about structure and different wax types and all the different things with your race skis over the years. But now when you're with DPS, do you not have to wax anymore? They have that new system, it sounds like.
I haven't waxed my skis in a long time. Yeah, the Phantom Glide is handy. Still tuning skis a lot, but not waxing skis anymore.
So it works.
Yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, just like getting involved in the sidecon construction and all that stuff. I mean, we're really known for the carbon fiber, and I've learned so much of that world from these guys. I mean, everybody says carbon fiber and it means one thing for everybody, but there's 15 different laminates that we work with. There's so much to it, so it's a really fun project.
And then on the goggle front and the helmet front, you've been doing this for over a decade now, right? Or right around there?
Yeah. So Carlo and I, just standing behind me, and I started Shred almost 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So we've been at this for a while, and yeah, it's been a fun project. I mean, I really started because I wanted to give myself a competitive advantage, but also I wanted something that was fun and cool. And
there was no cool stuff in the race world when you started this, right? It was all kind of Brico, look racist, and you wanted to look cool.
The idea back then was, it was like you looked like a 70-year-old German tourist, or, the big players had an image, but their goggles had no field of view and horrible lenses. And I was like, I want something that has a big field of view, good lenses, but doesn't look super dorky, like wanted something that was fun and cool. And so that was really the impetus. And Carlo knew a goggle factory, and a couple months later we had goggles. I mean, it was kind of that fast, but really now, like, trying to find ways to create performance enhancing products. I mean, we created our Shred Contrast Boosting Lens 2.0, and really the impetus for that was, I was like, on a flat light day in a race, if I have a little bit better lens than everybody else, that'll give me a second advantage. And for my wife, who's an average skier, if it's flat light, she's in the lodge, but now she will stay out and make some more turns. So it's one of those things we've always thought about technology and how do we give our athletes, or myself when I was racing, a performance enhancing advantage, and does that trickle down to the average person? Which I would say 9 times out of 10 it does. And so it's always been that kind of mindset and ethos, whereas I think most companies are like, their marketing team comes up with what's a cool acronym, and then we'll figure out the product from there. And we're very much the opposite way. Like, let's solve a problem that the best athletes in the world deal with, and then how does that affect the average person, which more often than not, it actually enhances their day on the hill as well.
It's time for my first sponsor break, and I'm going to start out with Insta360 action cameras, the only 360 camera that matters these days. These are the best action cameras on the market. They capture everything around you in 8K 360-degree video. It's next to impossible to miss the shot, and your footage won't be shaky thanks to the super smooth stabilization system, which is so important when you're on the mountain. Insta360 developed their X5 and X4 Air cameras with skiers and snowboarders in mind, which means they feature a freeze-proof design, batteries with longer run times, and a super durable design that will have you getting footage from the park to powder. And when it comes to editing that footage, Insta360's proprietary editing program makes it easier than ever to create Hollywood-level content or just a simple edit for you and your friends to enjoy. It's easy. Insta360 is the best action camera on the market, and for listening to the Powell Movement, they're going to give you a special offer. When you head on over to Insta360.com, they're holding a ski bundle sale for their flagship 360-degree action cameras, including the X5 and X4 Air cameras. When you're at checkout after you make your purchase, enter the code POWELL, that's capital P-O-W-E-L-L, and you're going to get a free ski pole mount from the good folks at Insta360 cameras. Next up, it's Elan Skis. And if you haven't skied on an award-winning ripstick yet, you're missing out on something that ski brands have long said wasn't an option: a lightweight ski that powers through anything and truly rips. It's game-changing, and Elan, while they've been around for 80 years, have been changing the game of modern skiing by doing things like adding side cut to straight skis with the Elan SCX, which changed the whole industry. They're building skis by skiers in a place with ski culture in the Slovenian Alps. And most importantly, they're supporting local shops. When the competition goes and starts selling direct, Elan sticks by their retailers who have been by them since the beginning. Elan is just built differently, and they innovate with a purpose, and that's to make your on-snow experience better, easier, and more fun. It's this approach that brought you the Ripstick and all of their award-winning skis. And when you're in the market for a new pair, visit an Elan retailer, demo a pair of their skis, and you'll know why Elan has built a cult following here in the States. To find out more about all the skis or to find an Elan dealer, head on over to elanskis.com. My final sponsor this round is Best Day Brewing, and now is the time to think snow. And skiers, snowboarders, weekend warriors, tubers, sledders, snowbikers, snowmobilers, snowshoers, sled doggers, shovel racers, snow angel makers, ice skaters, snowball fighters, igloo builders, you get it. The doers of winter are starting to get ready to shred, and post-shred, it's all about après. And this year, do après the right way. Forget about the calories, forget about the alcohol, forget about not taking more runs on the mountain, forget about getting in trouble on the way home, because with a beer from Best Day Brewing, you don't have to worry about any negative consequences. Just incredible flavor. Blind taste tests prove that you won't be able to taste the difference between a Best Day and your favorite beer with alcohol. The only difference you'll notice is how good you'll feel in the morning, and you're going to remember what you did last night, which is almost refreshing as a Best Day itself. To celebrate your best day yet, next time you're at the store, pick up a 6-pack of Best Day. Or you can always buy it on your Alaska Airlines flight, Amazon.com, or head on over to bestdaybrewing.com to get the full assortment of Best Days. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. While I said in the intro that there wasn't much media at this show, there actually was a decent amount of media. And one of skiing's original independent voices that is independent again is newschoolers.com. And I've chatted with David Zorko a bunch over the phone. I've never met him, so it was cool to catch up with him for a few minutes. And you're going to hear me mention Bodie Miller, who was behind us while we were chatting. If you've been listening lately, you know I totally shit on Bodie Miller for 2 weeks in a row. And while I don't know every single detail on the Peaks debacle, I do stand behind the fact that he fucked over a lot of people and he was really tone deaf when he made his relaunch announcement and then the follow-up announcement after that. And yeah, I guess it's also true that his past business ventures have all failed. So regardless, I've said enough to piss Bodie off to the point where if he felt like kicking someone's ass about the Peak ski reaction, I could be his public enemy number one. Good thing is, I highly doubt Bodie listens to this podcast, but either way, I did something that is very me. I took my badge with my name off, and I walked right up to Bodie, and I got a picture with the man himself. I was wearing a Seahawks t-shirt, and I was walking away. He said kind of jokingly, "Fuck the Seahawks." Well, the joke was on you there, Bodie. You didn't know that I was the one who was talking all that shit, and I'm sure you're a good dude, but that shit needs to be cleaned up. You need to take care of that, and that's all I'll say on this. I will say, Bodie is a much bigger person than I thought he would be, and if he did decide that he wanted to kick my ass, he would have beaten me to a bloody pulp. But he didn't. But let's go to David Zorko and New Schoolers.
You usually don't see New Schoolers, or I don't see a big crew of New Schoolers guys here at a trade show because it's a younger audience, I feel like. Are you reporting on all the park skis, or what's the deal here?
No, so we're really here on the partnership side. So Kurt and I are traveling here from Canada, basically, and we come out here once a year. It's a great place to see all the brands at the same place at the same time, show some face, shake some hands. You know, what we do is we throw a big gear test in April. So this is just a great time to see the new product, talk to the people who are in charge of marketing them, and make sure, like, hey, like if you're looking to push this to our audience in September, in October, we'd love to have you guys at our test.
And over the years, New Schooler has been the hub for everything that's going on with the youth movement of skiing, I think. Like anything 35 and younger is focused on New Schoolers. And what you guys are doing is great. But over the years, the internet has changed. And there was a time where everyone lived in your forums. And these days, are the forums as active as they were before, or has that kind of changed?
So the internet is always changing, right? And social media has been a big test to the community and how people interact on the internet and online, skiers in particular. So our business has changed, the business models has changed, and people's consumer habits have changed. But one thing that we have been seeing, and this will change probably like depending on markets and whatnot, but like, look, people are getting a little tired of social media. Social media is a huge part of our business right now, but we have been seeing a resurgence in forums, not just with like the core community, but even people jumping back in and just like search results. Like that's how Google is rewarding a lot of search terms, right? It's just like, where are the organic human conversations happening? The internet right now is filled with bots. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but real organic human conversation is something that's being very rewarded with search traffic. So we're seeing a big resurgence in that, and forums have, for that reason, also just been very successful in the last couple of years.
So would it be like that everyone kind of left the website for a while, went and followed you on social media and just got their New Schoolers content from social media, and now you're seeing them come back to the site?
In a very like simplified way, yeah, that's kind of what's happening. I wouldn't say like that it's like the huge trend, and we're not about to let go of our Instagram account, you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's still a huge part of our business and how we reach people and how people consume content. But the website remains a central part of our business and how we communicate and where our content lives. And I think we're only going to see growth through that. We're also working on a new website. So that should be launching before September of next year, or sorry, September of 2026. So we're really excited about that.
All right, so let's not talk about nerd shit anymore. Let's talk about the athletes. And when you think about it, who do the kids really care about these days? And Bodie Miller's talking right behind you right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's right there. That's Bodie Miller.
It is.
But who do the kids care about? And it's not on New Schoolers, because no one cares about him on New Schoolers.
Yeah.
But who do the kids care about on New Schoolers? What are the influential athletes that I don't know right now because I'm not on New Schoolers every day?
Dude, it is split. There's a lot of attention going to a lot of indie brands and
like 1,000 skis kind of things, or
so 1,000 skis for sure. A big thing that came out this year was a jet skis movie. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar
with the jet skis? Yeah, that's jet skis, Vishnu, like a lot of those smaller indie brands that do a lot of core stuff and really go grassroots with film projects, with events, and hooking up some athletes that work really hard on film projects and that haven't necessarily made it on the big stage, with X Games or any of the bigger films like through TGR, MSP, whatnot. So there's a lot of attention going towards that. We're trying our best to reward that as best as we can with the New Schoolers Awards and doing something different from what you would see with, for example, the IF3 Awards or other award shows and ceremonies in the ski industry. But you know what? Like, at the same time, we get these huge names, big athletes like Alex Hall, Hunter Hess, who's, regardless of how much time they put into competition skiing, they're also putting together film projects that compete against big projects that take 2 up to 5 years, like the jet skis project, and are still in the game and holding their own.
Who are the brands that people don't even care about anymore, that were huge at one point and that people don't care about anymore?
Dude, I can't say that.
All right, fair enough.
They might still buy ads from us.
Oh, that's the soundbite I wanted.
On the New Schoolers front, it seems like they're exactly where they should be right now in terms of ownership hands. I mean, I only talked to David for a few minutes, but in that conversation, it showed me that he not only knew how to network with all the players at a big boy event, but he also knew all the nerd shit, which New Schoolers has always been known for being cutting edge with, and he also got the athlete side of the game, which is who and what New Schoolers has always been about. So that's refreshing. Speaking of refreshing, at this point, I've had about 4 beers, and it's time to leave the trade show for the dinner I always go to. Last year, I did 2 steakhouses in one night, surf at one place and then turf at the next. But this year, I was given specific instructions not to book 2 dinners. And this dinner, it was an all-star dinner thrown by one of my longtime sponsors. It had a ton of important dealers, the A-Team, and then Jonny Moseley, Mike Hattrup, and another industry legend, Tim Petrick. And before I get into my dinner conversations, I'm going to let you know my order because it was a good one. I started with the petite filet, and I got a couple of looks, like Powell going with the light order tonight. But after my pause after I ordered the petite filet, I then had them prepare that Oscar style. and then I added a lobster tail on top of that. When the waiter was like, "Oh, would you like the petite filet Oscar style with the lobster tail instead of the crab cake?" I was like, "No, I'd like it Oscar style with the crab cake and then have a side of lobster tail." So it was like going to 2 steakhouses like last year, but not having to leave one. I ate every bite, and man, I was full and drunk. So if my words are a little slurry through these dinner conversations, remember, I woke up at 5 in the morning and dinner started at 8 and we sat through it till about 11. And I was privileged enough to sit next to a guy who had a Legends party in his honor that night at the trade show, another Powell Movement alumni, another guy who was one of my bosses at K2. I am talking about ski industry legend from Powder to Booth Creek to K2 to Rossignol to I'm leaving out so many different things, Jackson Hole, so many different things Tim Petrick has done. But let's talk to Tim.
Tim Petrick. I forget your name. I know you're with Peter Glenn. Peter Hamilton, who's with Peter Glenn, and Peter Glenn's named for someone's son or something like that it's named after you. There we go. I did a little bit of research a long time ago because Peter Glenn used to pay me a lot of money to put a lot of episodes up, and I love you for that, and that was awesome there. Very good there. But either way, I'm here with Tim Petrick, Peter Hamilton, 2 inside industry players here that have been to so many different dinners at the trade show. And Tim, what's your craziest trade show experience?
It was not actually a dinner. It was a night of cocktails, I believe at the Rio, where Prince was doing a residency.
Prince, the Rio is, go ahead.
I don't know. It was across the bridge.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They had the big lights in front.
Yeah, it's far away.
Prince did a residency there for a month. Okay, and I knew the producer through my history with the Grateful Dead. I knew the producer who was producing Prince. So it got us a table. Jackson Hogan, Pete Nestor, Karen Nestor, maybe Nickel, and myself. All right? We arrived there, and they say, what are you guys going to have to drink? And said, well, tequila. Maybe a tequila would be nice, some vodka. They come out with full handles of
like bottles,
the big bottles with the hook on them, with like a liter of whiskey, and of course all the mixers. And we sat there, and Prince played a set like an hour. That was, we were sitting 30 feet from Prince.
With what, like 300 people watching Prince?
It was mind-boggling. The intensity of the music and the playing and the association with this level of greatness, because Prince was fucking Prince.
Yeah, it's fucking Prince, man.
It's fucking Prince, and he was 30 feet away from me playing his guitar. That would be my highest level trade show experience.
Tim, you had one story, now you come back with another story. You want me to pick which one is the better one, but you had Prince that you saw from 30 feet away, so I'm not going to cut that out because Prince is an incredible entertainer. What tops Prince?
Chuck Berry. And this was an afternoon after the...
Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Berry is from like the 30s. Tim, jump back in here.
The king of rock and roll, who would do his little kind of kick step.
They did it in Back to the Future, right? Like, yeah.
Anyway, I went to the Swix party directly from the trade show. I had had nothing to eat since breakfast. I get to the Swix party. So Swix is,
wax.
Swedish wax, or not Swedish wax, but it's a wax company based in Scandinavia, right? And I get there, and they have aquavit, which is a kind of a schnapps or a grappa. You get to the door, they give you, in a blue Swix glass, they give you a shot of aquavit down the hatch. Okay, I put the shot glass in my pocket. By the end of the night, when I arrive at the Chuck Berry party, which was run by Gore-Tex, it was paid for by Gore-Tex. Okay. This was the golden era of the ski industry when we had money. They got Chuck Berry on the stage, and after the Swix party, I'd had like probably 15 shots of aquavit on an empty stomach, eating like little fish, the little sardines or something like this. Anchovies, shit like this. This is all in my stomach, and a few crackers. 14 shots of aquavit. I get to the gourd party, and I think it's a great idea to jump up on the stage and dance with Chuck Berry. I am promptly grabbed by security and thrown into the crowd, at which point I land on my sport coat, because back then you wear sport coats because you had to dress properly, and I had 14 of these blue Swix shot glasses in my pocket, half of which broke.
No, thank you.
Oh, please. Broke in my pocket. I ended up coming home with like 3 or 4 of them. So, I was literally thrown off the stage. Thrown out. Of the whole situation.
It's the first and only time you've ever been thrown off the stage. Was at a Chuck Berry concert?
Yes.
Yes. There we go.
So back-to-back stories from Tim, and then it was another story with one of the best storytellers I know, Mike Hattrup. So we're at a trade show dinner now, and I'm trying to manufacture a podcast because I've got to put one out from WSM. It looks like a lot of sides are coming in, steaks to the table. I should probably wait, huh, Hattrup? Or
Your choice.
Mike Hattrup has a story about a fight that you went to at a trade show. What's the story, Hattrup?
It was when the show was still in Vegas, and Michael Dokes was fighting Evander Holyfield at Caesar's Palace.
A.K.A. Holyfield.
Yep. And I go, I got to see that fight, and I couldn't get anybody to go with me. So I went down, and it had already started. It was probably the 3rd round, and this guy was leaving. So I said, hey, you got a ticket stub? And he goes, yeah, here you go. So you're not supposed to leave, but I was able to talk my way through the front door.
So you got a ticket stub and able to re-enter.
Yeah, and I'm not that far away. From here to the bar, and Dokes had stunned Holyfield. Holyfield, yeah, thank you. And then the round ends. And then the next round comes out, and Holyfield stuns Dokes. So they both smell fucking knockout. And they are, they're close enough that you see the spit and the sweat fly from the impact. It was unbelievable. I had never seen.
So the ticket stub guy gave you a good seat?
Yeah.
Like how far away from you from the fight?
Here to the bar, I don't know. What
15 feet, so you had a good seat.
No, more than 15 feet. There was 30 feet, 30, 40 feet. But
sick.
Good enough to see sweat flying and spit flying from impact. Holyfield won, but it was the most wild thing I've ever seen. It has nothing to do with skiing, so I don't know if that blows your story.
Nailed it. After Hat, it was time for me to eat every single bite of my dinner. The way I look at it, if you do a big order and eat it all, then that's okay. But if you leave anything, well, you should be judged by everyone. I not only ate everything that I had and a dessert, I even ate a couple bites of someone else's steak. I was hungry. Now I'm totally stuffed, and it's time for my last dinner conversation, and the one person I didn't chat with, who I always love chatting with, is Jonny Moseley, and he really is one of the nicest people in skiing. No ego whatsoever, just a great guy. At least that's the Jonny Moseley I see, and I've seen him enough to know that it's not an act. Anyways, while I didn't eat any bread, Moseley invented their dinner rolls. Jonny Moseley, we talked probably on a podcast 10 years ago or 9 years ago or something crazy like that. Yeah. But what have you been up to the past 5 years? What's the life of Jonny Moseley? You've got a son that's got a baseball scholarship to college, and he's going to be more famous than Jonny Moseley ever could be. Maybe not, because he's not going to win an Olympic gold medal. But what's your son up to right now?
God, thank you. No, you just cover the nuts and bolts. Let's talk about the rest. I guess since the last time we talked,
which is a long time ago.
Yeah, because that was kind of the beginning of
my podcast.
It was like show number 8 or 10 or something like that.
So it would have been 9 years ago.
500?
Yeah,
you've done a lot of shows, man. Amazing. And I think we all feel that you're like a treasure that's keeping the historical record in this industry. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I should say, everyone at this table knows that Jonny Moseley is the nicest person in the ski industry. And this guy sitting next to you tonight, who you've been talking to for an hour,
he's going to leave here thinking you're the greatest person in the world. Like I have many of times sitting next to you, and it's amazing that you're going to give me props for 500 episodes. But we're not talking about me. We're talking about you. We're talking about your kid and what your life's all about.
Yeah.
So your kid's a college baseball player. It's going to be great.
Okay, yeah. That I can.
You can't say it's going to be great.
I can sum up the last, I guess 10 years of my life as being focused on my kids.
Yeah.
Right? And I, at this point, we're reaching this sort of end of this period where I'm still influential in their life, right?
They still care about hanging out with you?
I've got a senior in high school and a sophomore in high school, and they're like, it's so fun, dude. Like, it's the best thing ever. And they love skiing, but they're also precocious in other sports. And my older son has dug into the baseball thing, and he's going to play, D1 baseball, and it's freaking really cool. I'm like so excited to see him like pursue something with sort of passion and like discipline in a similar way that I did, but have it be in a different thing is very cool, because like I loved what I did and have done and where it's brought me. And like actually this dinner tonight's really cool because like I was having this thought today where I think I was a competitor. I loved moguls and loved freestyle and went through this training through this like sort of chain of events, if you will, and then you kind of realize, actually this is the ski industry, like these are my people, kind of, and this is like a moment with you, Hattrup, and like all these, and the retailers, and Peter and Petrick, and it's like this is my life, right? And it's so cool to see your son or my son embarking on kind of something similar but different, and to see where he'll end up. So it's like a very gratifying feeling to see him, interested in working towards something. So it's very cool. And my younger son is sort of in the same vein. So I feel very lucky.
You've been baseball dad, huh?
Yeah. I've been baseball dad.
They're hardcore in baseball too. It's great when your kids are good, but like those people are cutthroat with like Little League and stuff like that throughout the whole thing. It's an interesting world.
It is. I mean, I always am sitting there trying to draw the parallels between skiing and baseball. I mean, I wouldn't say that the parental situation is that much different. People say that. It's not that much different. It's just you're just on different tracks. The skiing thing gets really crazy too.
But when you go to one of those baseball draft meetings, because I did like a T-ball thing, unfortunately. Yeah, and like parents are talking shit on other kids, and you're just like, this is really happening? You had a good kid, so everybody wanted your kid in first round, but that's pretty crazy, right? How that happens?
Yeah, that's true. You don't get the draft in skiing.
Yeah.
You don't have that forum where you're like talking about who you're gonna pick based on their families.
So other than kids, what is Jonny Moseley doing in life to just entertain himself?
All right.
You fish?
My life. I think about my kids' life all the time. So everything revolves around that. But I still ski a ton. I work in the industry, as you know, Palisades and Peter Glenn, these guys.
You do gigs here and there, and it doesn't take up too much time, right?
Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm working on this. I'm working with and around this X Games League project, which I can't really tell you about at this point, but it's sort of like that's been fun.
So there's going to be a draft in LA at the cause thing there, and then there's going to be 3 to 4 teams of 6 to 7 skateboarders, and so you're in part of that, and that's interesting.
And other than that, for fun, I love fishing, and I love wing foiling, and I love surfing, but I suck at surfing. But that's what my kids and I love to do when we have a chance besides skiing.
It's time for my second round of sponsors, and I'm going to start out with Outdoor Research. And if you haven't checked out OutdoorResearch.com in the past week or so, then you haven't seen the brand new winter line, which looks incredible. I could spend a lot of this ad telling you all the tech and why Outdoor Research is better, but know that in the 1980s and the early 90s, Outdoor Research built a reputation on functional quality outdoor gear that pushed the limits of innovative possibilities. And those who were function first were all about OR gear, Because it was and it still is built better, and outdoor research is still pushing those limits of innovation. This year, the outerwear focuses on 3 new collections, the Cloud Chaser for backcountry and the Powderverse and Hemisphere collections for freeride, as well as some staples in the line like the Snow Crew collection. These outerwear systems are styled for and by athletes like Mark Adma, Troy Podmilsack, Zoe Aitken, snowboarder Neil Provo, and others, and that's why this outerwear collection not only looks so good, but each piece is more functional than ever, and they're all you're going to need in any conditions. To find out more about the new collection, head on over to outdoorresearch.com. My final sponsor this round is Ski Idaho. And if you haven't skied in Idaho, then you're missing the best kept ski secret in the nation. Think 19 uncrowded ski areas with epic terrain that all get a ton of snow. In Idaho, you'll ski a lot more than you're waiting in line, and they really have something for everyone. When you visit Idaho, resorts like Sun Valley, Grand Targhee, Schweitzer, Silver, and Tamarack offer that on-mountain lodging experience, and there are so many other mountains to choose from throughout the state. Between the snow, the terrain, the award-winning restaurants, and experiences like horse-drawn sleigh rides, indoor water parks, spas, skating, guided snowshoeing, and so much more, I'm not kidding when I say there really is something for everyone this winter in Idaho. And if you haven't heard about the 5th and 6th grade passport program that allows kids to ride multiple times at each resort for only $29, you need to check it out. It's worth visiting Idaho just for that. To find out more about the passport program and all things skiing in Idaho, head on over to skiidaho.us. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. After I finished with Jonny Moseley, we had dessert, and then the group headed out for the group photo that I missed. Why did I miss this group photo? Well, I was getting my dick laser. What is that, you ask? It's exactly what it sounds like, a laser pointer that shoots 5 different dicks out of the tip. It's a really funny trinket that I bought off my Instagram feed, and I bet this thing's going to get me in trouble one day. And while it has pissed off a couple people, I haven't been in big trouble yet, but I had the waiter charging it during dinner because no one likes a limp dick laser, so I got the dick laser charged back up. When the waiter finally found my dick laser, aka the penis pointer, he also gave me a to-go bag with stuff in it that someone left behind. I headed out of the restaurant, and if you couldn't tell from me interrupting Jonny Moseley and slurring my words a bit, I had been drinking for quite a while at that point. So it's no surprise that I woke up in all my clothing, minus my shoes, laying next to a tomahawk steak. I got up, went in front of the mirror, and took a bite of that warm steak just to test my stomach. Then I worked out, headed back to the trade show, and the first person I ran into had the worst booth placement possible, but that didn't seem to bother her spirits. I guess that's what happens when you've lived the ski life forever, and now you have your own awesome brand. So it's time to talk to Heather Paul Featherman.
I'm here with Heather Paul Featherman at her company. I didn't even know she had a company, but it's Alpine Revival. It's these beautiful sweaters. And before we talk about the sweaters and the hoodies and the flannels, give us a little background on your ski career, HP.
Oh boy, gosh, a little bit of everything. Grew up skiing, skied through college, was a 3-time national telly champion, competed in the X Games on a fixed heel, ran women's camps around the world for about 12 years, was a big part of the K2 women's development of both the Alpine and Telly programs, and was on the Alliance team there for years. Was a Marmot athlete, did a lot of ski mountaineering trips, worked with magazines, and now just focusing on Alpine Revival and using my history in the ski industry to leave a legacy in the industry that I love and has been a part of my life.
And what made you want to start a brand? Because it's not an easy thing to do, especially for, I don't want to say an aging athlete, but we're no spring chickens anymore. And what made you want to start this brand at this age?
Well, you know, I guess it would be, we really wanted to celebrate what skiing used to be. And that's kind of where we're coming from, the fun and the joy and freedom and love of skiing from the, 70s and 80s. And then the fashion side of that is super inspiring. I love fashion. I love textiles and knits. And so it was an obvious thing to segue into the most iconic piece of ski wear ever, which is the ski sweater, which has some legs, right? I mean, it's what people started skiing in, and they're still wearing them. And sweaters are making a comeback, and we wanted to celebrate those bright colors and bold, fun, joyful styles of the 70s and 80s. And so that's where we came, and we wanted to update fit, fabric, so sustainable, cashmere. It's been amazing.
Well, I think everybody should check out Alpine Revival. I'm wearing one of your sweaters, looking at your booth with this Wade McCoy photo of Dave the Wave. It kind of screams that this is a fun booth, this is a fun product, and thank you for your time, HP.
HP gave me a sweater, and I'll tell you, it is by far the most comfortable sweater that I've ever worn. And that's a bold statement, but I've had it now for 4 days, and I've worn it for 4 days. I never knew a thin sweater could be as warm as a puffy and as comfortable as any material I've ever put against my skin. And this is no bullshit. It's really that amazing. But I will say, when I asked HP what a sweater cost, and she said $400, I was like, holy shit. But that's because the sweater's not for me. But I will say, if I was rich, I would only own shit from Alpine Revival. Not only do they have the coolest logo in skiing, but the people behind it are great, and if you can afford it.
I am sitting here with Mark Brice. Mark, you are the CEO of Julbo USA, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, the US CEO.
That is crazy because you are like 28 years old or something looking at you.
Yeah, 32.
32 years old, you're the CEO. How did you rise to become CEO of a company like this so fast and so young?
Well, we're a pretty small office, so there's about 9 of us for the US. I was in the national sales manager seat for most of my tenure here and worked pretty closely with our old CEO. He was changing industries kind of at the start of last year, so there was a spot to be filled, and I, threw my hat in the ring, and it's going well so far.
Nice, man. Well, it's nice to see someone so young at such an important position in the company. And one of the big moves that you guys have made was announced, I believe, today. And it's, I won't say a coup, but it's a perfect brand fit in bringing Cody Townsend over to Julbo. Were you involved in that whole deal?
Yeah, he reached out. I mean, again, being such a small office, we all kind of wear many hats. And he had reached out a little while ago. I think he connected with some of our European athletes, saw the gear in person, saw the stoke around the brand, and was just really interested. And that, I think, kind of opened the door for a conversation with him, which was great. Outside of my professional life, obviously big fan of Cody. I've been skiing my whole life, so he's kind of synonymous with skiing. So it was cool to connect and, chat. And we were able to partner on a more official level, which was awesome.
So Cody is part of Julbo, and I'm going to try and get him on the podcast for a third time before this thing ends. And I'm going to ask if this was a case of him being dropped by Smith and he had to find another great brand that aligned with what he wants out of his eyewear sponsor, or if he was ready to move on from Smith, a brand who's had his back for like 2 decades. Who knows? But good for Cody for not missing a paycheck when it comes to eyewear. He is a true professional, and what separates him from the rest of a lot of pros out there is the business side, and he's been one of the best at business. But he's also one of the smartest people I've had on the podcast, and you can hear that in everything that he says or pretty much anything that he does. He's definitely another level. And the next smart person I'm going to have on the podcast this week is a product manager. And it's funny, this show is all about the new product, and I could have talked to a ton of engine nerds and broke some new product news. I choose not to do that. What I did do, which I do every time, was talk to a lot of badass people, and a lot of them are women. And at this show, while there are a few women here, it's not close to an equal balance. And I was lucky enough to talk with Salomon Alpine product manager Lauren Samuels about women in the industry.
One of the big differences between you and every other product manager that I've seen in this whole building is you're a woman. And that is crazy. You're the only woman that's presented here, it seems like, at WSM. Is it a weird thing when you look around and you only work with dudes?
It's interesting. It's different. I've been in the industry now for 4 years with the brand, and so I've gotten used to it. And, I lived in the ski industry my whole life, and I grew up as a ski racer and have been around men and women who ski, and I know there's tons of women out there who need great product as well, so I'm glad to represent them, as well as, bring this great product to market, and I'm proud to be one of the few, but we definitely need more.
Yeah, you were saying that you had a dealer's daughter who was in town, and she was checking out the WSM show, and she said at the end of your presentation, the one thing that she noticed was that you were the only female presenter in the whole WSM show. So how do we get more women to feel like they can contribute, especially on the design and development side, which has been a hard thing to do in skiing?
Yeah, first things first, we have to open the doors and open the opportunities for them. So that's one thing I was very proud. Like, she reached out to me a couple of months ago and just said, hey, I'm interested in coming into the ski industry. And I gave her the tip to hey, try to come to WSM, get a little taste of it. And so I hope I can continue to mentor her. And, we have to open the opportunities. We have to share the information that we do know and always bring them along and get them up to speed and always make sure there's a space at the table for them and listen to their voice.
And I'm kind of saying that there's no other women in the industry, but that's a lie. There are definitely other women in the industry. Do you connect with other women in the industry and almost use them as mentors and focus groups and bounce ideas off each other?
Yeah, a little bit. Of course, we're all competitors as well. It's a healthy competition, but we totally support each other and we lean on each other a ton. And, I always know there's other ladies out there that I can reach out to if I ever want that support or need that support. And there's always like the fist bump or like, hey, let's go for the lady shred. And we definitely celebrate that. And whether they're a buyer, retailer, a boot fitter, or another person at another brand, marketing or product, like we all connect to kind of a different level that no one else can really take that away from us.
Awesome. And so this product line on the wall is under your direction. I believe, what's your title?
Yeah, so I'm the Alpine category manager for North America.
While I did talk product with Lauren, Salomon doesn't sponsor my podcast and I cut that part out. But they do buy stickers from me. And check this one out. But it's another don't tell my boss story. So my Salomon contact, like almost everyone in the industry, he's an awesome guy and he buys a lot of stickers. Salomon's a big company. So I made a sticker bet with him on the Super Bowl. And when this comes out, both you and I will know if I've won or lost. But here's the deal. If the Patriots win, Salomon gets 20% off their total sticker order. So that could be like a $2,000 or $3,000 savings. But if the Seahawks win, Salomon has to order 20% more stickers from what their order was last year. Go Hawks! If you're a Seahawks fan, I'm going to have a limited edition Seahawks sticker on my website by the time you read this, and they are sick. And sure, you can buy a sticker online from me, but when you buy your skis, buy them from your local ski shop. They're the ones who are going to mount them, tune them, and give you all the beta that you need to make a great decision. They're your home team, so don't buy online. Even if you do save $15 by buying on the internet, just go buy from your local shop and support the industry, or at least buy from your shop's online site. All industries are different when it comes to how they sell to their consumers. But when it comes to skiing, there's a special place in the ski shop that will never go away. Where am I going with this? Well, next up, it's another one of my favorite people that I never get to see, Elan's Ben Fresco.
Ben, you've had a big promotion recently. What's your new title?
Global Head of Product for Elan Skis.
So you used to be just the U.S. guy now, and now you're the global guy.
Yes, that's correct.
And so how does that make your job different? Are you spending a lot more time in Slovenia?
Yeah, quite a bit more time in Slovenia. It's like a week to 10 days or so a month, and it's become a second home for me.
Okay, and it seems like a lot of the Elan guys who live here in the States find a second home in Slovenia and love it, which is pretty awesome. And when you think about what you guys have been doing over the past few years, the big thing from Elan has been supporting your dealers. And you guys have put your money where your mouth is with all of your POP and not selling direct. And this year, your dealers appreciated you for that. Tell us about the award you won and how cool that was.
So the award was given by Winter Sports Retailers just as a trusted partner. And I think some of the things that we've done over the last year really contributed to the amount of support that they give us and choosing to recognize us as a brand for standing behind our products and behind retailers, right? Because ski retailers are the heart and soul of skiing.
But I mean, the way that Elan approaches it that's different than a lot of the other brands is you guys sell your product through your retailers, right? That's how it works?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to buy an Elan product, you go to a trusted retailer.
Yep, you have to go to an Elan dealer. Yep.
And you've kept that model going for a long time, and the rest of the industry really doesn't follow that playbook. Is that true?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. The direct-to-consumer push is a big thing across most of the other brands.
So when they buy Elan skis, they're not just supporting the Powell movement, they're supporting their local dealer, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to do a full interview with Ben before I finish this whole podcast thing because you know what? Ben and I now have a lot of history. We've spent a few days together every year for almost a decade, and we've worked together outside of that, and I respect the shit out of him. And well, I know that will be a fun podcast. Next up is a dude from the last of the great ski magazines that has never wavered from its support and coverage of skiing, regardless of what the climate of print or the industry has been. Free Skier has been the authentic, long-lasting voice for skiing for almost 30 years, maybe longer, I don't even know. But while others have come and gone, Free Skier hasn't. And I was able to catch up with the longtime Free Skier guy, the president of Storm Mountain Media, and founder of Rhythm and Sales, Damian Quigley.
What have you thought about this show? Because we've been to the SIA shows where they're crazy busy and you're doing so much business. The things have slowed down over the years. What do you think about this year?
Yeah, I love this show. It's just, it's a lot more low-key. You're able to kind of walk around, see what's new, have conversations with people along the way without having to, schedule a bunch of meetings.
We have the Olympics coming up. Is that one of those things that with the magazine these days, you focus on Olympic athletes or telling Olympic stories? Is that, because I do like 1 or 2 podcasts a year and I'll tell a couple Olympian stories. What do you guys do when you're kind of planning out your year?
Yeah, we put a big focus on the Olympics this year. In our second issue of the magazine, we had a whole Olympic preview section all about kind of the history of Italy with the Olympics, the different venues, the history of those places like Cortina and Milan, and also the athletes to watch across the slope and halfpipe. So that all went on the second issue, and then also got put onto a dedicated spot on our website, an Olympics section. People can go on and check out all the latest news, updates on the team athletes, and all the results that will be coming out.
Well, I didn't get to read that because I don't think I'm on the free mailing list anymore, but that's kind of a hint. I'll give you my address at some point after this. Maybe I'll be able to read that next year. But this year at this trade show, it's one of those things where this is the show that's like kind of what SIA used to be. All the brands are here. There's nothing else like this. And so Free Skier throws a party here, which you guys used to throw at SIA. When you throw a party here, like how was last night? How many beers and drinks do you think were consumed last night? When you pay a bill, is it a $10,000 alcohol bill for a party like this?
Wasn't quite 10K, but there was certainly a fair amount of shots, beers, a few bottles of champagne flowing last night. We had Simba Sax up there DJing, playing the saxophone for us. So we like to get people out of the convention center, put them into a different setting, just release a bit of tension and have some fun while they're at these events.
You know what's sad? Outside of the mountains and the mountain towns where the shredding and the lifestyle is happening, in a place that we call the industry where the business is done, there used to be so many players like Free Skier throwing parties and building culture and community in the ski industry. And while I didn't get to the Free Skier party because I was too busy eating all the food, I appreciate the shit out of them for continually creating events for the sake of community. They don't need to spend their money on parties all the time, but they do because they know it's good for skiing. I see that kind of stuff happen all the time in snowboarding, and there aren't that many people doing it in the ski industry. Maybe I need to step up like Free Skier and do something myself. I don't know. I don't have much more time on this podcast, so maybe it's not my turn. But now it's on to my last soundbite. And while I said Cam Hoffman was my second favorite Pit Viper employee, it's because Alex O'Brien, a guy that I go back to K2 with, is my favorite Pit Viper employee. Mr. Al, as Keaton called him growing up, would come up to Seattle for K2 photo shoots, and he would stay at my house for a month at a time when he was doing K2 stuff. But then K2 changed up, Al left the industry for a decade, and then he came back for his dream job at Pit Viper. And at Pit Viper, he's the old guy. But what's funny is that Al might be old, but he's also so connected that whenever any ski industry people come into Pit Viper for anything, it's a 30-minute conversation talking with Alex about all the good times, and everyone at Pit Viper calls him Alex. So it's cool that Alex is already a legend inside a place that's slowly becoming a legendary place, and I was lucky to get some deep thoughts from Alex O'Brien.
Alex O'Brien, my favorite photographer in skiing. He used to stay at my house a lot when he was a K2 photographer. So much that when my child would draw pictures, Alex was always drawn into them. That's how close he was with our family. Alex, you've kind of been out of the ski industry for like a decade. You're back with Pit Viper, but this is your first trade show. Is it the same thing as it's always been, or is it worse? Is it better? What do you think?
It's the same, but I don't drink, so it's much less fun.
So deep thoughts from Alex O'Brien, and I'm proud of him for quitting drinking. It's a really hard thing to do. Well, it sounds like some things aren't as fun, but I'm sure other things are really fun. Regardless, I love Al and I miss him. Now it's time for some deep thoughts from me. This show was really a roller coaster of emotions for me. A lot of people asked about Ange, and I cried a lot. Part of the game in my life is crying in public, and I've gotten good at that. But it was also the first show where I saw a lot of people that I respect who listen to the show week in and week out, and a lot of people shared their thoughts with me on why I shouldn't shut down this show. I can honestly say I've never heard more kind words about myself, my work ethic, and the product that I produce, and just about me in my entire life. It was so cool. And before I forget, I need to thank a couple other people. First, thank you, Elan Skis. You always get me into this show. You make it super easy for me. Everything is no problem when it comes to you guys, so thank you very much for all the support over the years, and thank you for that dinner. The only thing better than that one was my annual dinner date with Tom Moreno to the Capitol Grill in Salt Lake. Tom listens to all of my podcasts before they go live, and he lets me know if I miss something or I mess something up. While it's rare, Tom has had 2 huge saves over the years. So we go to dinner every time I'm in Salt Lake City, and while Tom usually picks the restaurant and it's usually some random foodie romantic spot, I wanted the best. And the Capitol Grill in Salt Lake City is my favorite restaurant. The space, the food, the service, and it doesn't hurt that the owner, Bill Bowler, is a skier and he's a really awesome guy. He's been so kind to me over the years, and it really is a pleasure to get to see him and the pride and the care that he puts into his restaurant. This is a guy I respect so much that I kept my D-laser in my pants when I was at his restaurant, and if you know me, it's a hard thing for me to not pull that out and shoot that all over the ceiling or all over anywhere. If you're in Salt Lake City, please do yourself a favor and head on over to the Capitol Grill. I've been to every steakhouse in Salt Lake over the years, and nothing else compares. So thank you, Bill. Finally, I especially want to thank Stefan from Zimmerman Ski Shop. We had a chat at dinner, and I don't think anybody's ever said anything nicer and more inspiring to me before. I can't stop thinking about your words, Stefan. Thank you. It really, really meant a lot. While all of that was amazing, it was also kind of embarrassing for me because compliments are always weird for me to take. Although sometimes I'm cocky on the show, if you were to walk up and tell me how great I am, which I don't really think I'm that great, I'm just average and the show comes out however it does, it really does take me aback. So it was a little awkward at times, but it also made me understand that this show has had a real impact on a lot of people and this industry, and I'm glad to do a little bit of my part because this industry has done so much for me. And while the podcast is still going away, there will be something else audio-based after this. And knowing all that I know about podcasting now, it's going to be even better. I just have to decide if I want to do something on a consumer-facing platform or something a little bit different. I'm thinking about blazing my own path in a new area of audio, but I'm not going to spill any of the beans about that yet. I'm leaning on taking this podcast to January 15th, 2027. That would be the real 10-year anniversary for the podcast. The 500th episode will be a big episode as well, but that's my plan right now. And I should take this episode to the finish line because I have done so much talking, and I will take it to the end by thanking all of you for listening each week and asking you to please support my incredible sponsors who make this happen. They are Elan Skis, Insta360 Video, Outdoor Research, Best Day Brewing, and Ski Idaho. Have a great week, everyone.